all my life. Been grinding all my life. Sacrifice, hustle paid the price. Want a slice, got to roll the dice. That's why all my life I've been grinding all my life. Yeah, all my life, been grinding all my life. Sacrifice, hustle paid the price. Want a slice, got to roll the dice. That's why all my life I've been grinding all my life.
And welcome everybody to the Inland Sports Show. I'm your host, Pep Fernandez. We are live and amplified here on this Wednesday night. We got some high school football we're going to bring you. In fact, a lot of high school football. We'll also talk a little girls flag football, a little CBU basketball. We're going to check in with the Perris Panthers a little bit later in the show. So we got a great show planned for you today. I did want to say right off the top, it is hard to talk high school football because of the tragedy in Utah today. We just pray for Charlie Kirk and his family. We pray for this country, man. It is evil, disgusting what happened today. So I'll be honest, it's hard to sit here and be excited about high school football considering what happened today. So we're going to do the best we can to try to have a normal show as we get you ready for week 3 of the season. All right, as I mentioned, the Perris Panthers are coming up just a little bit later in the show. We also are going to check in with the Arlington Hall of Fame. I had the honor of emceeing the Hall of Fame banquet this past Saturday night. They did a great job. Mr. Ibarra, the school principal, Dr. Tacey Duncan, the assistant principal over athletics. They do such a fantastic job. They've done it several years in a row. It is first class out there at Arlington High School, and they've had a lot of special players and coaches go through that program. So we're going to check in with Gary Rungo as well, the legendary baseball coach for the Lions, a little bit later in the show. But first, high school football, and we've got to check in with the Bass Athletics Play of the Week. And it was a good one. The Cajon Cowboys taking on the Etiwanda Eagles. It was a close ball game in the third quarter. Malik Noli, check out the touchdown run, spinning out of a tackle there, stays on his feet, goes in for the touchdown. That was the third quarter. Then in the fourth quarter, freshman quarterback Marcus Washington is going to take matters into his own hands. I think that goes for about 95 yards. That is exactly where the ball was placed. We'll say 95 to the house as Cajon would win this football game 34-19. 2 huge touchdowns in the second half for the Cowboys, and that's our Bass Athletics Play of the Week. All right, now to the Bass Top 25 poll after week number 2. And as I say each and every week here when we do the high school football rankings, is that the good news is we are going to have a lot of head-to-head matchups. So a lot of these, hypotheticals of who's better than who will be decided on the field in the coming weeks. But after week 2, this is what it looks like. Centennial still on top. They're 2-1. They got a big one against Mater Dei coming up this week. We'll talk about that in just a moment. Murrieta Valley at number 2. Beaumont at 3. Rancho Cucamonga, big win against Oak Hills. They climb up to number 4. Chaparral still trying to find their first win of the season. The Pumas are probably the best 0-2 team anywhere. They're at number 5, followed by Norco, Vista Murrieta, Cajon, Aquinas, and San Jacinto. On the other side, Summit, Murrieta Mesa, Ramona, they're all knocking on the door of the top 10. Orange Vista 0-3, but they have played some really good teams, and they've played some really good teams very closely, but just don't have any wins to show for it. I will say this. Let's see, Beaumont, Norco, Ramona, and Vista Del Lago all trying to move to 4-0 on the season. So if they can do that, they will solidify or even climb in the Bass Top 25 poll. A little bit farther down the list, there is Norta Vista at 20, followed by Elsinore, Pauley, Hillcrest, Valley View, and Yucaipa back in the top 25 after a nice road win at Shadow Hill. So a lot can change. Even a lot can change after this week, but that's how our Bass Top 25 poll looks after week number 2. Now, we mentioned the number 1 team in all the land, Centennial. They have a huge game against the number 1 team in the nation. It's Mater Dei, the Monarchs and the Huskies. It will go down in Corona Friday night. And Mater Dei and Centennial, it's been a rivalry. They seem to see each other at least once a season, sometimes twice, because they do play each other quite often during the regular season as well. And then you can almost pencil them in for a semifinal matchup in Division I. Well, we're going to get the precursor, the entree, the prequel, as Mater Dei and Centennial go head-to-head this Friday. And again, Centennial's 2-1. That was a tough overtime loss against Santa Margarita. That's the only blemish on the Husky schedule. But man, they could really shock the world and turn things around if they could get the job done against the number 1 team in the nation, Mater Dei. But the Huskies are coming off. Santa Margarita was 2 weeks ago. They are coming off a big win against Bingham from Utah. So that was a big win for the Huskies this past Saturday. But now they got a tough task going up against the top team in Mater Dei. But the Huskies will be up for it. They will be ready to go out there and play the role. The Huskies playing the role of underdog. You don't say that very often, right? Centennial is always the favorite going into a game, unless it's probably Mater Dei or Bosco. But those have been some great games the last couple of years, especially in the playoffs. All right, so Centennial versus Mater Dei is our Ken Sporting Goods must-see game this week. Let's take a look at some of the other big games coming up. It's going to be Chaparral taking on Rancho Kook. The Kook coming off a big win against Oak Hills, 14-3. Chaparral losing a thriller against San Clemente. We'll see if the Pumas can get their first win of the season. But if it wasn't Centennial versus Mater Dei as the Ken Sporting Goods must-see game, it was going to be Chapin and Rancho Kook for sure. Murrieta Valley and Murrieta Mesa. The Rams are having a good season. So is Murrieta Valley. We'll see if the Rams can dial it up against a very good Nighthawks team who's number 2 in the rankings right now. The Moval City Championship unofficially. Moreno Valley and Vista Del Lago going head. That's a rivalry game. When the Ravens and Vikings, it's going to be great. It's going to be a fantastic game. They're both off to good starts, and we'll see if Moval can knock off the Ravens. They battled last year. In fact, I think I was at their game last year at Moreno Valley High School, so that's going to be a fun one. San Jacinto taking on the Rancho Verde. We'll see the Mustangs get their first win of the season, but easier said than done against a San Jac team who's only got 1 win, but they battled Yorba Linda the previous week. Temecula Valley will take on Hillcrest. I think this is one of those sneaky good games in week number 3. Could come down to the wire. My prediction, at least. Golden Bears and Trojans. Liberty will take on Elsinore. Kind of a rivalry game there. 2 teams in that area. And finally, Vista Murrieta will take on Bishop Amat. And the Broncos are off to a strong start as they try to keep things rolling along down there at Vista Murrieta. And of course, you can see highlights from a lot of these games coming up on the Friday Night Pep Rally this Friday night on Riverside TV. Myself and Jeff Gorham, we go live at 11 p.m. all the way up until midnight. Scores, highlights, and a lot of fun. That's the Friday Night Pep Rally on Riverside TV. Now, one game this week that is not on Friday night. It's actually on Saturday night, and it's the Battle for the Propeller, Riverside Poly and King High School. Now, the Wolves won this game last season by a score of 21-18. The Wolves raced out to a lead. Riverside Poly able to battle back and make it close in the very end. But King would hang on. 21-18 was the final score last year at RCC's Wheelock Stadium. Now, King has won the Propeller rivalry game 4 years in a row. The last time Poly won this game was back in 2019. So the Bears are trying to bounce back, and it will be at King High School. So it's technically a road game for Riverside Poly. It should be a lot of fun, though. The fans, they come out for this one. It's going to be packed. It's going to be loud. All of Riverside is going to be excited about this one. and it is the battle for the propeller. And I had to find out. I reached out to Riverside Poly athletic director Jim Vaughn. I'm like, how's the propeller play into this? Why is that rivalry game named the battle for the propeller? And it's because King High School and Riverside Poly both have connections to March Airfield Reserve Base. Poly, a long time ago, King does a special program with veterans tied closely to March Airfield Reserve Base. So that's why it's the battle for the propeller, because they both have ties to March and obviously planes and jets. So there is your connection. All right, another good one this week number 3. It's going to be Colton taking on Palm Springs. That's a Thursday night special for the Yellow Jackets. We will have highlights of this game, so we will be out there. In fact, our guy Jesus will be covering this game. Yellow Jackets coming off a huge win on the road against Arrowhead Christian. That was Yellow Jackets star quarterback Koa Regalado. Didn't even play in the second half. He's still waiting to play a complete game. Colton trying to stack up some wins here in non-league play before they get to the San Andreas. Yes, I said the San Andreas. They won the Skyline League Championship, but they got bumped up in the Arrowhead Athletic Conference, so now they are in the San Andreas League, so they're trying to stack up those non-league wins. Big one this week against Palm Springs before they get to SAL play.
We won Skyline last year. The goal would be to go up into this one and win San Andreas so we can make that bump to Sunkiss. But obviously, no matter what, we're going to take it week by week. We got a tough. We got some new coaches in our league, so we'll get to them as the weeks go on. We'll get to it. What's it called? But we're just week by week. We're not looking too far ahead.
We won league last year, and the goal is no shorter. If anything, it's a lot bigger. We have a lot higher expectations for this team this year. We know that Rim's going to be a tough game in that league. Zanji maybe, but we're ready. So we're getting ready for those 3 games, and we can't miss. It's only a 14 league, so we can't miss if we get in the league.
All right, that was star quarterback Koa Regalado, head coach Ray Rodriguez of the Colton Yellow Jackets. All right, let's transition to college football, and a shout out to San Bernardino Valley College head coach James Griffin picking up his first win as the head coach of the Wolverines. SBVC going on the road to the Monarchs of LA Valley College, and SBVC had 5 different players reach the end zone. Some trickery as well. You see that play? That was a nice play there by the Wolverines to find the paint. 5 different players found the end zone. The defense did a great job too. 33-0 was the final score as SBVC evens up their record on the season at 1-1. But again, giving Coach Griffin his first win as the head coach of the Wolverines. And this Saturday, SBVC will try to, speaking of stacking wins, try to get another win, make it 2 in a row. They will be back home this Saturday, and it's a Saturday matinee. SBVC will take on Compton College, the Coyotes, at 1 p.m., and we will have the game live on IEMG. So make sure you follow the IE Media Group YouTube channel, your home for SBVC football, and we'll have the game live. Again, that's 1 o'clock, a matinee for the Wolverines this upcoming Saturday. All right, and this weekend of IEMG, we're going to have an exclusive interview with Ava Bagarin from the San Gorgonio girls flag football team. That is Ava, along with her dad Adam on the right, and in the middle, that is LA Rams legend Eric Dickerson. Ava won a special NFL Latino Youth Award, and we're going to get the details on what this award's all about, how the season's going. Ava was all-league defense last year, and according to her head coach Matt Spolstra, she's looking again like maybe the top defensive player in the league, but also offensively. She's having a great season on both sides of the football. So we'll talk with Ava about the team and this special award. And her experience of going to the Rams season opener this past Sunday against the Houston Texans. That's where she received the award from the NFL. So more on Ava Bagarin coming up on Sports Weekly on IEMG this week. All right, when we come back here on this edition of the Inland Sports Show, we're going to check in with the Perris Panthers. They've got a tough non-league schedule. They played Rim of the World last week. They've got Banning this week, so another tough non-league contest for them as they gear up for the Inland Valley League, and they're trying to make a run to a league championship, but it's going to be tough. The Inland Valley League, Citrus Hill is 3-0. Canyon Springs, we're seeing what they're doing. Moreno Valley, I mean, it's going to be tough, but the Perris Panthers are hoping they'll be battle-tested, taking on some good teams like Banning this week to get them ready. So we'll be right back here on your favorite show, the Inland Sports Show, right after this.
The Inland Sports Show is brought to you by Kin Sporting Goods in Norco, #1 in the Inland Empire for team uniforms, sports equipment, and Letterman's jackets. Bass Athletics in Corona, driven by passion and hard work, Bass Athletics helps student athletes push their limits, compete with heart, and build the discipline to succeed in sports, school, and life. For more information on the Bass Private School, visit bassathletics.com. Paulson Orthodontics in Redlands with Dr. Marcus Paulson. Personalized treatment you deserve from an orthodontist that you can trust. And Chick-fil-A in Yucaipa, right off the 10 freeway at Yucaipa Boulevard. Eat more chicken. It's football season, which means it's tailgating time. Follow Tailgate Like a Boss on Instagram, and you can book this one-of-a-kind custom tailgating toy hauler for your next game or event. The Inland Sports Show is proud to partner with Dr. Marcus Paulson and Paulson Orthodontics in Redlands. Dr. Paulson and his team work with children, teens, and adults using orthodontic products like traditional braces and Invisalign to make a difference in the appearance, comfort, and function of each patient's teeth. Paulson Orthodontics welcomes new patients, so schedule a visit today. Paulson Orthodontics. We make braces fun.
Taliban. Yeah. Jumpin', them boys up to something. They just spent like 2 or 3 weeks out the country. Them boys up to something, they just not just bluffing. You don't have to call, I hear my dance like Usher. Woo! Jumpin'. I just seen the jet take out, they up to something. Them boys just not bluffing, Jumpin', them boys up to something.
Hey guys, this is Jason at Ken Sporting Goods. We're almost to 1,000 Instagram followers. Tell your friends, like us, come down, see us. Thank you so much for your loyalty.
And we are back here on the Inland Sports Show. We appreciate you tuning in live and amplified here on Wednesday night. And this segment of the show is brought to you by our friends at Tailgate Like a Boss. See that toy trailer? Well, you could rent that for your block party, your birthday party, just a tailgate with your friends and have a good time and watch some football. It is awesome. You're going to have a great time, and you can follow them on Instagram. It's Tailgate Like a Boss. You can see it on the side of the toy hauler, and you're going to have a great time for whatever the occasion. So make sure you give them a follow. That's Tailgate Like a Boss, and you can slay the day, as they say, and have a great time with your friends and family. Again, block parties, tailgate parties, birthday parties, you name it, you're going to have a good time. And we appreciate Tailgate Like a Boss. We appreciate their support and supporting local sports here in the Inland Empire, because our awesome sponsors make it possible to bring these positive stories here in the Inland Empire. So thank you guys. Tailgate Like a Boss. All right, next up here on the Inland Sports Show, before we get to some CBU basketball and the Arlington Hall of Fame, we do want to check in with the Perris Panthers, man. I'm a big fan of Coach Martin. He's doing a great thing down there at Panther High and trying to get things going in the right direction. They have been, but as I mentioned right before the commercial break, the Inland Valley League is going to be tough, man. Canyon Springs been doing their thing. Moval, Citrus Hill is 3-0. Like, it's not going to be tough. But the good thing is the Panthers, they will be battle-tested. They're playing some really good teams in non-league action. Last week, it was a road trip up the mountain to Rim of the World. Back home this week to take on Jake Niesel and Banning. They're doing a good job this year. So they've got a tough non-league schedule, but they will be ready. They will be battle-tested. They'll have seen some good teams before they get to league play. So without further ado, the Perris Panthers right now on the Inland Sports Show.
Inland Sports.
And now join us here on the Inland Sports Show. The Perris Panthers gearing up for a big game against Banning this upcoming week. We got head coach Paul Martin. We got Matthew Martin. And we also got Aaron Ortiz from Perris. And coach, man, even before the season began, I looked at your non-league schedule and I thought, hey, they're going to play some good teams. They got Rev on there. They're going to go up into the mountains, take on Rim. Banning's playing better football. That's a tough game as well. So when you looked at your non-league schedule, you probably figured, hey, we're going to find out, how good we are, maybe some areas we need to fix before we get to league play, right?
Absolutely. That was the whole goal when we set up our non-league schedule, was to try to play teams with different identities, to try to give us a look at what we might see in the league play. We have a very competitive league. Some of the teams that, didn't do too well last season got considerably better. So we're not taking anything for granted. We snuck into the playoffs last year, but Lakeside, Citrus Hill, and Heritage are all really good football teams, and they're all very well coached, and they improved this year. So we just wanted to set up a non-league schedule that was going to prepare us for those guys.
Coach, speaking of playoffs, I mean, what do you feel like the goals were for this team on the onset of the season? Was it, first thing, maybe, league championship, second, get to the playoffs, I don't know, third, make a playoff run? Like, what were the goals you had set maybe for this Panthers team?
That's a great question. Every year we pretty much have the same goal. Our goal here at Perris High School is to identify what we're working with every year, because we don't get an influx of football players year in and year out. Last year, we were fortunate enough to have 2 solidified levels. We had like 80 kids in the program. This year, we took a dip a little bit. Our numbers aren't as high. So every year, we go into the season with the expectation of just coaching the kids up that we have and evaluating the talent that we have, and then just doing the best we can to try to be competitive in league and make that playoff run.
Yeah, and I feel like, you can correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like your league is maybe tougher than ever. We've seen, Citrus Hill having a good season. Moval, is tough. I mean, you feel like that the race for a league championship is going to be tough. They're in Canyon Springs. I don't want to leave anybody out, but I mean, that's a good league. It's going to be super competitive.
Absolutely, 100%. Even Heritage, they haven't done so well so far, but if you look at who they played, they're a good football team. So we can't take anyone in our league for granted. We got to be ready to play every single one of those teams, and that's why we wanted to make our non-league schedule diverse. You mentioned going up the mountain and playing Rim. They're a very, very, very physical football team, as is Bloomington. Yeah. And then on the flip side of that, we play teams like Banning and Redlands East Val, who likes to sling the ball around the field. So we wanted to be diverse in our non-league schedule to give us different looks to get us ready for what we're going to see when we enter into our league play.
All right, Coach, I'm going to go to Matthew first, but first, just introduce him. What makes Matthew a special player for you?
Well, besides the fact that he's around 6'4", 400 pounds, and one of the strongest kids in our team, he's a very high character guy, good GPA, just a really good teammate, always willing to encourage and help out others, just an all-around good person. So, so that's what I feel makes Matthew Martin special.
All right, Matthew Martin, right guard for the Perris Panthers. And Matthew, obviously, Coach loves your size, but talk about the line. And do you feel like games can be won or lost depending how you guys are doing up front?
Yes, sir. The line needs
What needs to do well, give your quarterback some time, open up some holes?
Yeah, we need to focus more on our blocks and have a little bit more in our pocket time.
Matthew, when you looked at this non-league schedule, you knew you were going to go up against some good competition, right? So tell me something positive that you guys have done well through the first couple of games of the season. What has impressed you about this Perris team? I know you guys are still trying to, stack up some wins, but what has impressed you, whether it's Bloomington, Rim, Rev, whatever game?
I feel like during the Rim game, we actually did pretty well against them, even though they're a higher league team than us. But I feel like we did really well against them.
And what stood out for you? What did you guys do well, you felt like?
Throw the ball, run the ball, add our blocks, and everything else.
So, Matthew, this coming week, you guys have another tough opponent in Banning. What do you think are the keys to victory, without giving away all your secrets? But what do you think Perris has to do to try to get a win on Friday night?
Just stay confident in ourselves and help each other up.
All right, good stuff, Matthew. Let me go to the other side now to Aaron Ortiz, defensive back for Perris High. And Aaron, through the first 3 games of the season, like I asked Matthew, what has stood out to you about this team? Where do you feel like this team has excelled and maybe can get even better as we get closer to league play?
I feel like we've excelled in chemistry so far. We have a really strong bond, and I feel like the team is a one unit as of right now.
Aaron, this team obviously wants to compete for a league championship and get to the playoffs, and who knows, maybe make a playoff run as well. What do you think you guys have to do well the rest of the season? What do you think is the key to just having a successful year at Perris?
The key is for us, since we're a small team, I think we got to stay healthy. And I think just staying healthy, we can make that run with the guys we got.
Now, Aaron, do you play on both sides of the football?
No, I'm strictly a defensive back.
Oh, so you actually get to catch your breath, right? You get to take some of the plays off. But defensively, what do you think are the keys to shutting down, like Coach said, you're going to see a variety of different offenses this, non-league and even league play. Like Rev likes to throw the football around. I think Banning does as well. Rim of the World traditionally like to run the football. Defensively, what do you think you guys have to do to lock other teams down?
We got to switch up their game plan. With the teams like Rim, who likes to run the ball heavy, you got to make them want to throw the ball. Like teams like Banning, since they can't throw the ball, you want to make them run the ball. And I feel like we've done that pretty well against Bloomington, against Redlands East Valley. We've been able to switch up their game plan.
All right, good stuff, Aaron. Let me go back to Coach Martin in the middle. And Coach, man, these are 2 awesome guys. I can see why you're excited about these seniors and what they're going to help you guys hopefully accomplish this upcoming season. But first things first, just playing Banning this week, that's another test for you guys. What do you feel like are the keys against the Broncos? We got highlights of them. They battled Redlands, and Redlands is out of the Citrus Belt League, so they're going to be competitive. What do you think are the keys to victory against Banning?
Well, over our first 3 games, we haven't done a very good job of taking care of the football. We've turned the ball over. We haven't been able to stay consistent with winning the turnover battle, and we've given up too many big plays. So I always tell our kids there's two things that we want to win every game, and that's explosive plays and turnovers. So we were fortunate enough to come out of that Bloomington contest with a victory, although we lost on both ends, the explosive plays and turnovers. So we want to win in both of those categories for one game eventually this season. Hopefully it's this week against Banning.
Are you still waiting for that complete game from this team?
Oh, absolutely. We haven't been able to put it together yet. One thing I am happy about, we haven't been penalized as much as we have in times past. So we're getting better in that regard, but it's just way too many turnovers and way too many explosive plays we're giving up. So once we can get that under control, we'll become a much better football team.
All right, Coach, obviously Herm Edwards famously said, you play to win the game, right? But over these 5 non-league games, is part of the non-league the value in playing those 5 non-league games is the growth of this team, or maybe the improvements you can make before you get to Inland Valley League play? Is that safe to say?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, guys like Matthew, this is Matthew's second year ever playing football. So, we identified him on campus and finally convinced him to come out and give it a shot towards the middle of last season. And it's just been a constant progression for him in understanding the cognitive aspect of the game more so than the physical. He has the physical attributes, but, football's a thinking man's sport. So just getting him acclimated to the different concepts and things like that, him and in addition to all the other players that we have on the team, non-league serves as that buffer to get them to understand what's required of them in their specific position. So when we hit league, they'll be all tuned up and ready to go.
All right, Coach, remind me, who do you have after Banning? Who's the final non-league?
Oh, it's another tough team, Grand Terrace.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that's another tough test right before league play.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, we did it intentionally. We did it with a purpose because we knew that, our league was going to get tougher. We know that the coach over there at Citrus, he's a great coach and he's going to improve his team every year. Lakeside got themselves a new new coach. And from what I hear, he's a really, really good coach. And Heritage, they've always been strong and they have a really good coach. So we got to keep improving like they're improving. So, we didn't want to have a cupcake schedule. We wanted to stack our non-league with teams that we knew were going to be competitive to test us. So we'll be battle-proven when league starts. Yeah, that makes sense to me because playing all those good non-league games, because that Inland Valley League, I mean, it's wide open, but I think all the teams are really close. I think it's going to be competitive that, anyone, including Perris, could win that league championship. I think it's going to be fun. Well, that's what we're hoping. Yeah. I mean, like you said, it's going to be a really competitive league. Canyon Springs and Moreno Valley are still at the top. You can't take that away from them. They earned it, and they're really 2 tough football teams. They have 2 different distinct styles of play. But, yeah, after that, I mean, the league is wide open. Well, Coach Martin, Matthew, Aaron, appreciate you guys hopping here on the Inland Sports Show just for a couple minutes, kind of break down the season so far and break down that matchup with Banning coming up on Friday. Guys, appreciate it. Good luck, and hopefully we can do this again soon. Maybe we'll be talking about league titles and CIF playoffs and all that good stuff in a couple of weeks. We're hoping. Thanks, Pep, for having us. We appreciate it. You got it. That's the Perris High School Panthers here on the Inland Sports Show. Inland Sports. Always enjoy catching up with Coach and talking some Perris football. All right, when we come back here on the Inland Sports Show, we will get to some CBU men's basketball. Just some quick notes real quick because we are getting close to the basketball season. I know we just barely started football, but right on top of football, you got basketball. And then we'll take you back out to the Arlington High School Hall of Fame. But first, another quick commercial break here on the Inland Sports Show. We will be back right after this.
The Inland Sports Show is brought to you by Ken Sporting Goods in Norco, #1 in the Inland Empire for team uniforms, sports equipment, and Letterman's jackets. Bass Athletics in Corona, driven by passion and hard work, Bass Athletics helps student athletes push their limits, compete with heart, and build the discipline to succeed in sports, school, and life. For more information on the Bass Private School, visit bassathletics.com. Paulson Orthodontics in Redlands with Dr. Marcus Paulson. Personalized treatment you deserve from an orthodontist that you can trust. And Chick-fil-A in Yucaipa, right off the 10 freeway at Yucaipa Boulevard. Eat more chicken. It's football season, which means it's tailgating time. Follow Tailgate Like a Boss on Instagram, and you can book this one-of-a-kind custom tailgating toy hauler for your next game or event.
all my life. Been grinding all my life. Sacrifice, hustle paid the price. Want a slice, got to roll the dice. That's why all my life I've been grinding all my life. Yeah, all my life, been grinding all my life. Sacrifice, hustle paid the price. Want a slice, got to roll the dice. That's why all my life I've been grinding all my life.
Yeah, I mean, Buffalo versus Baltimore was an awesome game on Sunday Night Football. Jets and Steelers. Okay, so Josh Allen, my Week 1 MVP, right? But if you had to pick another MVP, it might be Aaron Rodgers, who had 4 touchdowns against the Jets, leading the Steelers to a 34-32 victory. So if you had questions about Aaron Rodgers and if he could still do it, he could still do it, Patrick.
He certainly looked good. There's no doubting that.
So my 3 finalists for my Week 1 NFL MVP, Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers, and maybe even Danny Dimes. Daniel Jones, the quarterback of the Colts, had a really good game and a blowout win for Indy.
Yeah, he looked really good too, So, wow.
Yeah, I know it's hard to make, we love to jump to conclusions, right? But at first impression's important, right? So that first week of the season, all 3 of those guys look really, really good. But it was the defense that was the difference against Houston. 14-9. That's all they needed was 14 points to beat Houston.
Right. I mean, we just talked about some offenses that looked really explosive, but sometimes the defense seems to come together quicker, and we've seen that in a lot of cases, especially in our division, where it just takes a little bit more time for some reason with the offense to get it going. And some of these defenses, especially in the NFC West, wow, they look really tough.
Yeah, man, defenses looked awesome, especially with those NFC West teams. And what's funny is even at the high school level, coaches will say, the defense always comes along first. The offense always seems to be a work in progress, and it'll come along a little bit later. So I don't know if that's what we saw this weekend. I mean, obviously Buffalo and Baltimore going 41-40, that's a lot of points there. But if you look at the rest of the league across the board, kind of low-scoring games, including my 49ers and your Seahawks. Man, that was a crazy wild finish there as San Francisco won 17-13, and it ended up being a defensive play at the end by Nick Bosa that sealed the win for the 49ers. So another, defensive kind of, game with low scoring.
We did see some fireworks. We did see some bombs, but however, overall, the defenses did look pretty tough in the NFL to me.
And again, if you can play defense, if you can run the football, I'm not reinventing the wheel here, you're going to win a lot of football games, or at least be competitive.
Inland Sports.
And we are back here on the Inland Sports Show, hanging out with my guy Patrick in the morning on KCal 96.7 FM every Monday and Thursday morning. So if you're watching us live and amplified here on Wednesday night, you can hear us tomorrow morning talking sports. And I guarantee you we're going to talk NFL football. So if you're a football fan, check it out. All right, CBU men's basketball, their season opener is right around the corner. Monday night, November 3rd, they will take on USC Upstate. I think it's the University of South Carolina Upstate, I want to say. But that's their season opener on Monday night, November 3rd. But to get you ready for that, coming up on Friday, October 10th, is the big tip-off dinner. You can hear from head coach Rick Croy on the men's side, Jared Olson, the women's basketball coach. Again, that's Friday night, October 10th at the CBU Fowler Events Center. And that's the unofficial kickoff, is the tip-off dinner for CBU basketball. So hope you can join us. You can get more information at cbulancers.com if you'd like to get a table or tickets. It's a lot of fun. It's your first introduction to the CBU basketball teams in that one. And one of the guys back this season is Dominique Daniels Jr. Dom is back for one more season with the Lancers, and he was just named the preseason WAC Player of the Year. So congratulations to Dom. Big time scorer. CBU certainly going to lean on him again this season, and the rest of the conference think the same way, that he's a big time player. He's the preseason WAC Player of the Year, Dominique Daniels Jr. All right, now let's take you out to Arlington High School this past Saturday night. The Lions had their Hall of Fame class of 2025. It included coaches Gary Rungo and Steve Wiper, athletes Ron Main posthumously, my good friend Ron, Presley Weir, and contributor Harvey Zamora. The Heart of a Lion Award going to Glenn Joseph, and the team of distinction was the 1999 baseball team, coached by none other than Gary Rungo, the legendary baseball coach who went into the Hall of Fame. But the 99 baseball team, the team of distinction for the Hall of Fame this year, they won the CIF Southern Section Division I championship, and they were also mythical state champions. And Coach Rungo, as you're about to hear, he's had some great teams, and Coach Cleveno kept it going out there at Arlington High School with great teams and great players. But he says at the end of the day, that 1999 baseball team was the best team ever, period. There was so much talent on that team. I mean, Major League Baseball draft picks, Division I guys, they were absolutely loaded. And to win the D1 title in the CIF Southern Section, well, it goes without saying, they were really, really good. Here's a legendary coach and Hall of Famer now, Gary Rungo, talking about his relationship with his players and coaches, and also coaching that 99 team, the best team ever.
Inland Sports.
You know, I was telling somebody earlier, the championships are great and the winnings great and all that kind of stuff looking back on it. But to see them like 30 and 40 years later, when you're a coach, I know all the other coaches that have ever coached for a long period of time, the kids leave and you freeze them as like 17 and 18-year-old kids. Then you see them like 30 years later with 3 kids. Some of them are even grandparents. It really wakes you up. It's really the most important thing is the relationships. Oh yeah, that's the best team. Not even close. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but you know what? Too bad. Rip the Band-Aid off. That team was awesome, and I really meant this. I really believe that the only way that team was going to lose is if we got in our way, you know, and didn't cross our T's and dot our I's and all that kind of silliness.
Inland Sports.
Coach Rungo's a great guy, funny guy too. In fact, I shared a story. Oh, I should have mentioned. I had the honor of emceeing the Arlington Hall of Fame ceremony, and I shared a story more than a couple years ago, probably about 10 years ago, when Coach Rungo was still coaching. I reached out trying to get him for an interview, and I was trying to track down a cell phone number, and basically I was told Coach Rungo doesn't have a cell phone, and if he did, he wouldn't answer it. And so I got a hold of an assistant coach, and I was like, well, where's Coach Rungo? Can you put him on the phone? I'm trying to get a hold of him. He's like, oh, he's out cutting the grass. He's on the riding lawnmower, mowing the fields out there at Arlington High School. So I told Coach, I don't know if he was dodging me, didn't want to do an interview, but come to find out, he's very talkative, very friendly, and very funny. Congratulations to Coach Rungo and the entire Hall of Fame class at Arlington High School 2025. Also, big thanks to the Perris Panthers. Good luck against Banning this week. Another big non-league game for them. And hope you'll join us Friday night pep rally on Riverside TV, and also Sports Weekly Live on IEMG. I'm your host, Pep Fernandez. God bless you guys. Stay safe out there, and we'll see you next time on your favorite show, the Inland Sports Show. Good night.